app or anything fake like that to be able to, you know, kind of convey what this is going to do. So you guys should be able to see me in that camera. I'm orange, red, and yellow. So to my bridal parties, that means I'm normally the hottest guy in the picture. So, but we're literally looking for cold spots. I'm orange, red, and yellow. Those were our warm spots. Blue and black are our colder spots. So again, we're going to be recording with this from time to time. It is a start and stop. So Chris, this one's actually going to go over to you. With this guy, the way this is set up, there's a blue dot that moves around on the screen and will show you the coldest spot in the camera at that particular moment. You're going to keep this camera with the wire hanging out of it to the left at all times. Even when I tell you to stop it and let's start it back up again, start it on the left. Otherwise, the video will be upside down. I got to give out your phone number. It's never fun. No, I'm kidding. I would never do that. But again, you have been kind of the quiet one so far. So with that said, the reason why I ask you guys to show up 15 minutes early so I can size you all up. I'm a writer, so you're all characters to me right now. I'm still sizing you all up. So again, you're going to keep that on your left, and I'll show you more about that at the first location. Now, with the first location, I'm going to go through more tactics with your devices, every single one of you. So if you have questions about the device that you're assigned to, please hang on to those until we have a quick one-on-one at the first stop. Not here, but the next one. All right, so we're going to be using several different types of spirit boxes tonight. The first one I'm going to set up usually requires 2 people, which is why I'm handing it off to the group of 3. I'm also handing it off to this group because this one doesn't record anything. However, Chris's camera does. So in the event they actually hear something, the hope is that the audio from the camera will also capture it and we can all hear it the next day as well. Okay. So again, spirit boxes, I guess I should explain what those are. Sometimes I forget my audience. So spirit boxes, this is going to sweep through FM radio stations at a quick rate. I have it as slow as I possibly can make it because I want the radio chatter to come through. So the DJs, the song lyrics, the commercials, it's a 50-50 shot that I can actually tie it to the location of wherever we are, a person we're talking about in history, or even something going on with one of us. So again, we're going to be using 4 different types tonight. This is one of those types. Again, this is the only open air one that we're going to have, so that way 2 people can listen in on it. But again, I have this set up as slow as I can possibly make it. You guys only have 1 button to worry about. You're going to listen in together. There's a little notch on the side of the ball speaker. When you hold it down gently, it'll turn the volume down. Obviously, we want to keep it down when I'm talking to the whole group, but get a feel for it. That way you can actually push it back up again and kind of get some volume. So it's a gentle hold. You don't want to keep tapping it or, you know what I mean, like pushing it in. It's holding it up like almost like a volume up. Okay. So go ahead and get a feel for that so you guys can get it just to where that's at. All right, the next spirit box. We're going to be using 2 different versions of this one. So this one is going to do the exact same thing that theirs is doing, only this one is going to record. So what I mean by record is that it's going to record no outside noise, just the radio sweep. The people that use these, because I have 2 of them, there's going to be 1 to each party that we have here so far, they're actually going to have earbuds. So those earbuds are, that way they're the only ones that are listening to it in real time. You're only going to get 1 recording from the 2 devices that I have. Otherwise, it just becomes a muddled mess if I start giving you recording after recording. So this one is set up to record, but no outside noise. I love this guy. So again, we're looking for song lyrics, DJs, commercials. Anything you can make up out of that you can actually hear. Because again, this is the hardest job out here, these spirit boxes, when you have to listen to them. Linda, this one's going to go to you. The reason why this one's going to go to you
I don't know if that would be a good one because I wear a hearing aid.
Okay, that's probably not a good
idea. Terrible hearing.
All right. Patrick?
Yes.
I was going to say going to you because you're the chatterbox. Yeah. But I'm going to hand you a set of earbuds here shortly. The volume button is right up here where my index finger is. It's a wheel, not a button. Okay. Nicole, I'm going to set yours up. You'll also have a set of earbuds, but however, it will not record, just so you know. So yours is the one that we're going to be relying upon. Nathan? Yeah. Hey, how's it going? So we're just going through the devices. So we're getting everything set up now. You'll have the audio recording to kind of get the gist of what we've passed out so far, and that way you kind of know what's going on. So no problem. It's just when I have the larger groups, I have to get started. There's lots to cover.
You're good.
So,
sorry, everybody. You're good.
Well, we got to blame Uber and Lyft on that one. So again, your volume button is at the top of this guy. And again, it's a wheel, not the button itself. Let me get those earbuds for you guys so that you guys can be squared away. So take a set of earbuds out of there.
Thank you.
I do not want earbuds back, by the way.
Okay.
Earwax is gross. You guys can keep it. So, all right. So now that we're on the subject of spirit boxes, so I'm sorry, Nathan and Catherine. Okay. Again, I'm doing my best with names tonight when I haven't had a full group in a few nights. The last spirit box we're going to use, because I like to put one in every single group, this one's going to give us a set of words from time to time. So all of those words are going to be saved to a list. The cool thing about the list is that it has timestamps on it, so I know when that word appeared.
Oh, yeah.
So this one in particular, last night's group, they actually had quite a bit. They had 95 terms show up. Here's what I'm going to tell you about the list. We're all adults here. This list, 80% of it is bullshit. It doesn't mean anything. It's meant to be a game and a hoax. It's the other 5 to 20% where I'm going to tell you why it's relevant to the location, a person, or one of us, and give you a backlink of where I got my information. So that way you can verify and check the checker. Does that make sense? Again, I'm not hiding anything here at all, as you can see. So, Catherine, this one's going to go to you. When I want to see the list, I'll say hit this little white button right here, and then you'll be able to scroll through the word list. Never hit those two. Always this one back here.
Gotcha.
So you're all square on yours. All right. So, where are we? Okay, I think we're good. So, this is the neuralizer for Men in Black. None of you are going to remember a damn thing when we're done. Sorry, movie buff. I got to throw in my movie lines.
You sell those?
Do I sell them?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I sell the experience, Chris. So, with this, obviously we're working with lasers. They're very impressive. These can also get Nick in a lot of trouble. If these lasers are shined in the wrong way, say up the street too far, in windows, Nick will be arrested. That's how important lasers are to be in the right set of hands. So, what's the whole point of lasers on this particular tour? You're going to be looking for anything that passes through them, because you can't see the lasers until something goes through it.
Right.
We're going to be using a specific type of camera tonight that's going to help with that. So normally I would have a regular digital camera, where the digital camera, literally you'd be taking hundreds of pictures and I got to sift through them. I'd much rather watch a video. It's way easier to use. We're going to use two different types of lasers. We're also going to use red grids. Why the red squares? Because if we capture something here, I can put it in 3D software and give you all a full 3D view of what we caught along with measurements. How cool is that?
Yeah.
So again, I've had this for almost a year. I've had a few things that came close to the software actually recognizing. So nothing solid yet where I'm like, oh my God, look at this. But we won't be able to catch it unless we're recording. So we want to use these not together and cross the streams. Bad Ghostbuster joke, but it does work here. We want to use them side by side. So, and again, lasers always stay pointed down. So these ones are going to go to you.
Oh, okay.
Look at you. You're on top of things. Now, with that particular camera that we were just talking about, that goes with this guy. So, Nathan, you left out. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Wait, where did we go? So, you have a spirit box already. You have a spirit box. Yeah, let's definitely... Matt, thank you. We're going to go with Matt on this guy. So, quick demo on this one, just so you guys know what we're working with. You should not be able to see me in this camera. So, with that, I know it's a small screen, but it should be pretty dark. We're going to turn on some lights. So we're working with full spectrum lighting on this. So when we're working with the lasers, it's much easier to see the lasers. So Matt, you're literally going to be filming a lot with the lasers. So the four of you are going to have to the three of you are going to actually have to stick together a little bit. So again, full spectrum lighting allows us to see things that we wouldn't normally be able to see with the naked eye, because we're using light that we can't see with the naked eye. So Matt, I'm going to show you more about this device once we get to our first stop. I don't have it recording just yet. So again, I'll show you more about that at the first stop.
Sounds good.
All right, so onto some simpler things. These are pretty much a necessity. If you watch any of the TV shows, this is a K2 meter. So this measures electromagnetic fields. This is kind of the first indication that something might be happening around us. I use a lot of this for debunking. So this kind of allows anything that gives off a signal. So my phone should make it go into a pulse. If it was on, as you guys can see, it's already kind of blinking up a little bit.
Yep.
It kind of helps me figure out what's actually happening around us. It doesn't make any noise, it doesn't vibrate, doesn't do anything crazy spooky, but you're going to be the first person to tell me that something might actually be happening.
Okay.
So again, I kind of like to put those kind of meters all over the place too.
I can handle it.
Yeah, you can.
Last but not least, so Nathan, you're going to be my multitasker. So this one also has an EMF detector in it. This one goes to 25. Yours spikes out at 200. A little bit more accurate. So that's your big numbers along the top. The bottom number is ambient temperature. So in the event Chris finds something on his thermal imaging camera, you and I will be able to debunk if it is a true cold spot or if it's coming from something man-made. Okay. The last thing that it has is what I call a motion sensor or a REM pod. Okay. So what that does is if anything gets close to that antenna, it will go off. Cool. I have the proximity set pretty close because we will be walking. I don't want bugs giving us false positives. Again, right now I'm going to shut it off because it can be a little distracting when I'm kind of trying to cover things. I'll show you more about that at our first stop. Okay. So again, that is going to be your indication of what's going on. All right, everybody should have devices except for the two that are sharing one device. And that's only because it's a necessity of sharing one because, again, we need you guys to verify each other. The other ones are basically recording some kind of data. All right, bag is way lighter. I appreciate that. That was awesome. Questions, comments, or concerns at this point?
I'm curious, how does the spirit box play into it given the FM radio frequencies?
So the FM frequencies are basically what they're manipulating. They're going to be pulling words from those FM stations and giving us back any type of words or phrases that are going to be significant to where we are. Okay. So again, yours is a 50-50 shot that we can tie it. The word list is an 80-20. Remember, it's going to generate words from time to time. So again, that's kind of how we kind of go along with this. Always a 50-50 because we just never know, right? It is a full moon tonight. However, I cannot guarantee any paranormal activity will occur.
Isn't it also a 99%?
It is.
So our lunar eclipse was happening?
Yeah, at 3:57 a.m.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that.
All right, I don't mean to sound like a moron, but how do you turn this one
The
on?
box is a toggle switch.
Oh, it goes up and down.
You got it. Just make sure you can feel the dot where, like the hole where the laser comes out of. Just make sure it's always pointing down when you're about to use it.
Okay, gotcha. I got this one, but not this one. Okay, got it.
All right.
Yep.
Do I have this on? Like, I would fill in the button out loud, just making sure I didn't mess it up.
All you want to do is just hold it gently until you can actually start to hear it, and then you just hold it down. There you go.
Okay.
All right, so full moon. I can't guarantee paranormal activity. However, it is 2 years in time where I have not. I have been giving this tour, and I've yet to not have a night that had something. On the latter half of the year, I normally say that the full moon will give us a little bit stronger of, any kind of activity that's going to occur. In the front half of the year, it's usually a new moon, and then it starts to shift over the summer. So we're definitely in the latter half of the year. Again, fingers crossed that we will come across something tonight. Hopefully we will. All right, so let's talk about why we started here.
Yeah.
Big John's, which is where I told you all to meet me next to. Yeah. Big John's was a football player for the 1947 New York Giants. Obviously a football player. This was his bar. He used to sit in the back of the bar and tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel, if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, 2 guys come in, they're not old enough to drink. He has a bartender throw them out. The next night, those 2 fellas come back and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar.
No.
Yeah. John gets up from the bar, goes over to the 2 gentlemen, and just starts beating the heck out of them, right into the floor. A couple of shots go off. John gets hit in the neck, and then the bullet lands in the wall. John gets up after being shot, goes back to the bartender, tells him to get him another beer, get the 2 guys on the floor, an ambulance. Now, so John obviously didn't die during this bar fight. So what's haunting the place is the bullet hole. It's allegedly still here. I say allegedly because the place just re-grand opened. So I don't know if the bullet hole's still there. However, his blood is still in the building. People that sit in the front of the bar tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, or headache. I bring this up on purpose, which is another reason why we start here. It is a heated warning. Fingers crossed we will be dealing with paranormal activity, which is why you all are here. But it can cause those type of symptoms of queasiness, nauseous, or headache. I need to know immediately if anybody feels those things, so that way we can move the entire group to get that person to safety. Is that fair?
Yep.
For data's sake, we 3 just ate there.
Yeah.
Beforehand,
We
we've been
did.
there.
Where did you eat at? What part?
At the bar. Right?
At the bar.
We've been in there.
I know, but I meant what part? Like in the front?
The lower end of the bar.
The back
The
of the bar.
lower end,
Okay.
the back end.
So, let's not talk about our own health, right? Because nobody wants to think about getting sick about a tour. I'm going to wait for them to pass. Welcome to Charleston.
Yeah.
So, if you didn't take any kind of historical Charleston tours yet, you should know that we had a big earthquake here in 1886. We all talk about it as far as tours go. This is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. piece of the mantle that you see in the middle of the building also goes around to the front on the East Bay side. So a piece of that broke off from the earthquake, struck somebody in the back of the head, and killed them. And they say you can see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street in the middle of the night. I say apparently and allegedly a lot with that because I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue story, so you guys aren't thinking about getting sick on the tour. Right, Linda? All right. I say we go ghost hunting. What do you guys think?
Oh, yeah.
We're going to go this way. We're going to get away from these sirens.
He didn't go far either.
You guys are going to have me talking all night. What do you think? Need lots of water. Alright, so your entire time with me should be thought of as kind of a ghost hunting 101. This is your level 1. This one's going to be very easy. We're not going to spend a lot of time here. And this is just a good practice spot so you guys actually get used to your devices so you know what they actually do. So right behind me is the big red barn lot. This is where we keep the horses for your carriage rides. Those of you with lasers cannot be on the building. So lasers will spook the horses, kick them at a wall, and scare the hell out of all of us. So, the only history I have here is really simple. This is the same red barn that held horses that delivered milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. Really easy history. So let's talk about spirit boxes, because we do have 4 in play tonight. So, spirit boxes, this is not television. This is not your YouTube videos. This is not, is somebody here? Like everybody always wants to ask a spirit box or Ouija board or any kind of communication device. First off, if somebody answers no, that means somebody's here. So they answered you. So we're not going to be asking yes and no questions throughout the night. I will always give you impromptu questions with every stop. I will also say certain keywords in a slower motion. For example, Big John's, I gave you 47, New York, Giants, and John. Anything related to a bar. Here, it's obviously going to be horses, delivery, milk, and eggs. So those type of terms are going to be obviously prevalent when we hear them. In the event that you're going to ask questions while we're here, which I expect you guys to start getting used to your devices, ask questions you know the answers to. If somebody's here, tell me what color the big red barn is. Obviously, we're looking and listening for the color red. Catherine's going to be the only one that's looking, because she's the only one with a list. Other spirit box folks, you'll be listening. Obviously, you're looking for red, but keep in mind, the noisy spirit box is the one that actually uses radio stations. The word red might not be there. Fire truck, blood, heart. Those things are specifically red. So it makes sense when you get an answer like, what color is the big red barn? Blood. I'll take that as an answer. Most of tonight, I will say, I need another verifiable clue or a secondary clue. For example, it is Catherine, right?
Yes.
Okay, Catherine sees the word art on her word list, and Patrick hears the number 40. Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. You kind of see where I need those double clues to verify what's going on?
Right.
A lot of the stories tonight have multiple people with the same names. Lots of Charles, Georges, Eliza. These are common names in the 17 and 1800s. We need to know who the heck we're talking to. So again, that's why I always look for that secondary clue. I told you guys I won't make things up for you. I will tell you if you're stretching things a bit or, kind of seeing where things are going with it. If on her word list she gets excited about something and I feel like it's like a little too vague to be too specific, I'm going to let her know. It's just that simple. So again, I'm after just as much, paranormal activity as you guys are. So, spirit boxes, again, you're going to basically peruse the lot. I work with the video cameras first, so that way I can show them a little bit more tactic with their devices. And then I go straight to the millimeter, which would be Nathan. So once I get done with the video cameras, I'm going to go straight to him, check in on the spirit boxes, and then work with the lasers and kind of see make sure there's no other tactics. A few things about cameras and lasers. First off, lasers can make car alarms go off, no pressure. So you want to keep them off of cars. Again, straight in front of you, maybe 3 to 4 feet in front of you, and that's as far as you go. As far as the camera goes, you definitely want to stay focused on her, but when I'm going to be working with her, if you want to hit the darker spots, I'm going to show you more about your spot anyway. And they will, what was the other piece? Car alarms and the cameras. People do not like their cars being filmed. So if somebody's going to their vehicle, there's going to be certain places. I told you we're going to weird spots tonight. Somebody's going to their vehicle, you're going the opposite way with your cameras. Just so you know, we're not going to be disrespectful. Just imagine if it was your car. All right, spirit box folks, go ahead and start spreading out. Nathan and I'm losing a name.
Kathy.
Kathy. Make sure you guys are watching your numbers. I've been keeping an eye on your lights, so just kind of let me know what you guys see and kind of keep the highest, color and number, and that way I'll show you more when I meet up with you. So cameras, stay here with me, and let me show you more stuff about your devices. We're gonna stay within this lot, guys, just so you know.
These lights go on their own.
Which lights? I shut it off for now.
Yeah.
Until I can meet up with you first, so that way you can see how to turn it on and off. All right, so we'll start with thermal imaging, just because that way I want to get the spirit boxes going too. So you want to try to keep somebody's skin tone in there at all times, if you can. We have a pretty large group, should be pretty easy to do. The reason why is because obviously that orange, red, and yellow is going to go somewhere else if there's not the warmer temperature in there, and it's much easier to see an actual ghost. So she's definitely got 15 to 20. I got to mark that stuff down, so give me just a minute. Just kind of keep an eye on which colors it's going up to. But again, you want to try to keep somebody in view with, what you've got going on there. Nice slow movements. Yep, you got it. So that's exactly it too, is the contrast. Also keep in mind the sky will make the blue dot default to the sky because it doesn't know what to measure. Some places it's going to be impossible to not have the sky in there, but if you can, kind of lower the camera to keep it lower to the ground, you know what I mean, just kind of point it downwards a little bit, so that way we can keep the sky out. But yeah, definitely stick close to what they're listening to, because again, we want to try to capture whatever they're listening to. If they hear something, that we catch it on your audio at the same time. So I'm going to follow up more with you guys here in just a minute. I'm going to show him a few things on his camera. Do you have any other questions on your device?
No, mine's working, right? It's on. I don't have to do
It's on. You just got to turn the volume up and down for when you're ready to listen. And you can definitely go ahead and listen. With yours being the only one that's open air, everybody else has an earbud in. If you're going to be close to the front of this barn, the horses don't like the white noise. So you want to try to keep it just audible to the two of you only at that point. That's the only spot that it's like that.
Okay.
All right, so for your camera, Linda, come on over. Let's do a quick example of what we're looking at here. So first and foremost,
You know how to turn
there's two
it up.
different lights working for you on this camera. Obviously, short range and long range. So we're going to leave the long range alone with all night long.
Is it on?
Yes, it is.
Right there, Byron.
It's on.
I got to turn it this way or that way.
Okay, let's do it.
Stay with her so she don't have to be so loud.
So keep it kind of angulated, right, like 1 or 2 feet below her hand.
Yep. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. How much of the grid do you offer? It's like 1 or 2 squares.
Nice slow movements. So the slower the better, only because video. So if something passes through, you want to be able to capture it, you want to be able to still film it. So here's leave it on the ground, flex back, whatever you can kind of see that. So and then like so there's gonna be certain places.
I wasn't paying attention.
You go after yours. How do you? Where is it today?
So, I heard your name, I heard Linda is,
No.
and that's why I went over to you and I asked Anna to come closer to you, but
Walk around a little bit.
staying on red.
Oh, really?
Can you back up?
I can do that.
Can you back up just a little bit? Okay, look, the
Oh.
closer she gets where you are at, look, now it's staying on red, and it's going
Oh,
behind.
that's wild.
I heard your name. And then,
Really?
yeah,
Cool.
do you see anything on your camera?
Okay, so when do I hit record? Will you let me know?
Oh, Roger. It's gone.
Beginning portion, you're gonna have audio with all these people here from regular audio and the thermal imaging. I started right away because again,
Oh, no,
I don't
there it
like
is.
to do a full 2 hours.
Too much data.
She got red.
So I heard Linda is, and that's my aunt's name, and the closer she got to over where she was, then this got, it went more red.
Full explanation from the regular audio.
Okay, got it.
All right.
Move
Now, what we
that
got
one.
on your word list?
So let's do.
Steven.
Oh, you got the name Steven?
I don't know, it's going away now.
It's still working. Yeah.
Move backwards?
Yeah, a little bit. This was up at 12 and a half very briefly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, move your arm around a little bit.
It goes away, see?
Yeah. You want to find the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Left?
Yeah, it's man-made. You can find it.
Well, it's right smack
Yeah,
in the middle,
right
right there.
Yeah. Wow, that's wild.
I didn't turn it up a little bit.
Picking up like a
We
radio.
done picked up a radio. I
Literally like you said.
think we done turned it up too. I don't know.
Well, that's weird that you're hearing names though.
Yeah, but I heard Linda is, and then Nana moved closer to you, and then suddenly the fire had the whole time. She kept hitting something over there, and then
Yeah, and it's been in this just one area.
You see?
Yeah, that's really kind of crazy.
Picking up radio.
hey, Nana, for the heck of it, go close to the building.
To the what?
To the building.
To the red building.
Oh,
Back side,
yeah.
roll up the flap open. There's two little
Oh,
white
yeah,
buttons.
that's
Button, put
really-
the whole device down.
Really warm.
The one closer to the edge is the one you'll
Okay, what does that do?
That's going to turn
Me?
on the motion sensor. Yeah, it's
The
not a
cold,
motion sensor. Yeah.
it's dark. It'll be,
Oh, right there? Where it's real dark. Where it's real dark, you say?
Every time. You got it. So that way you're finding the right. It's coming from when I'm telling you history, I will always say go ahead and bring your breath off. Just so that I'm not distracted by this. You know what I mean? And all those lights flashing. So that way, you know, you kind of know what's going on. When I'm wandering around, I should you can leave it on. Sure. Okay, cool. All right.
Okay.
Oh, okay, so this is what was weird. So she was picking up, and it's like, it's almost gone now. It kept going to red while you were talking to him. And then I heard Linda is. And the closer she, it was my aunt here, and the closer she got to her, the more red and solid red it stayed. And then, so we've been moving around now trying to figure out what that is, but it was her name. And then I heard Steven. I don't know if it's Steve, but that could have just
That could
been
be somebody from the football.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
which
true.
Might be relevant, yeah.
But it said Linda is, and then I had her move closer to her, and now it's gone.
Yeah.
But it was,
And this is exactly what I was just telling Nathan. This is why we call it ghost hunting.
Yeah.
So again, it's gonna show up from time to time.
Wait, look, it's gone.
Yeah.
it's gone. Come over here now.
Yeah, over there it stayed on.
It stayed on. Went
Oh,
right
yeah.
over in this area. It's just, I think you're over here.
Well, even still, it's probably not gonna show back up.
That's true. That's true.
Oh, yeah, it's not.
That's one of the reasons why I bring you guys here. You never know when they're actually getting a little bit further again. But I don't want to focus on football players and ponies. Did anybody else hear anything from the spirit box? Steven, I got that. I wrote it down.
And then, well, we were tracking stuff over there, and I heard door. And then, so we went over by the door, and then, but I don't think there was anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll definitely write that one down. Nicole, do you got anything on yours?
Only Adele's new single. Sometimes.
What was the lyric? That's what counts.
Something with the word easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
That's the name of the song.
Okay. All right. I say we go dive a few hundred years back, further than 1947. What do you think?
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna go this way.
Yeah, that was fun.
Look at that. Look, I mean,
Yeah.
it's gone now.
Yeah. But that was crazy. The red was off and on and off and on.
Yeah, but it like it kept staying on it.
We had it where it stayed.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, it's weird how there's like, energy around you. Yeah, that you don't even realize,
Well, it's not like we had power lines above us over there either.
No. And there wasn't,
Like I expect when you're near something like this. But there wasn't any of that.
No,
Now we've gone down. Oh, I
I'll
just.
say go ahead and get your
Hey, this is from the red, right?
Yeah. Big red one.
And I heard now we find out. Oh, look at that.
Now we find out.
I'm at like, I was at like 12, 13 over here as well. Now it's 7, 9, 3, 7.
Here's what I'm going to tell you about the little bit of findings you guys have right now. It's probably going to magnify probably a good by 5 to 8. So let me get you guys the history here, so that way we know a little bit further about what we're going after. So I'm going to bring us a little bit further back. That's the only entrance and exit to this location. So welcome to another beautiful site in Charleston, everybody. I know, it's a parking lot. You don't know where to park, by the way. By the time I'm done with you, you have issues that I cannot fix. So this place used to be something. Of course, it's why I bring you here. This used to be the Pinckney Mansion site. So the Charles.
yeah.
Okay.
We did learn something about that today.
You're going to learn a whole hell of a lot more.
Okay.
Because she's going to give you some answers, not me.
Okay.
Charles and Eliza had their mansion in the front of this lot. Eliza's garden was lined up with that left tree over there and came all the way across. We're standing where the servant and slave quarters would have been for the home. Again, keep in mind, I want to say they had like 17 properties all over town. This just happened to be the primary home.
Oh.
I'm not going to be giving you questions for your spirit boxes here, like what color was George Washington's white horse, by the way. So again, you're going to get those answers from your spirit boxes. Charles and Eliza had a son named Charles and they had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 Charleses, in case you lost count. The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. It's a pretty big deal for us, but I don't like talking about politics either. So we're going to move on to Eliza. She's way cooler anyway. Eliza married Charles at a young age according to our standards today, not 1700s. Just keep that in mind. I'm not going to give you what that number was, but Charles was over double her age. It's not as gross as it sounds once I give you the answers before we leave, I promise. But she married him because her father over in England thought he was dying and wanted to see all of his kids one last time. She didn't think he was dying, so she stayed put and got married. This is 1745. There was no such thing as citizenship or marrying for a green card or anything like that. This was actually out of love. And even after Charles's death, she remained a widow. So that tells you how much in love she was with him. Now, she was right. Dad did not die right away. Instead, he starts sending her gifts over from England to this site. One of those gifts happened to be the plant indigo. You guys have all been here for at least a few hours that I know of. You've probably seen the word indigo somewhere around town and didn't realize where it all stemmed from. It stemmed from right here. Keep in mind, indigo was already in the Charleston area from the Gullah slaves that were being brought over. These are agriculturists. So again, Eliza didn't know what to do with this plant. She learned from her servants and slaves how to keep it cultivated. It's not always warm here, in case you're not from the South. So once she figured it out, she moved it to another plantation home in Mount Pleasant. So she calls Dad up and says, rice plantations are going downhill. We can make a killing with this indigo plant. I need somewhere to sell this. We now have an international businesswoman during colonial times. This is absolutely unheard of for this time frame. So that's the cool, like the normal stuff that she did for this country. Let's talk about the weird stuff, because that's why we're all here, right? So Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles, back to back. So one Eliza died, he married this Eliza. They both have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. That's the only clue I'm going to give you. Find out which maiden name of which Eliza we're speaking to. The mansion's not here anymore, obviously. You can ask what happened to it, and then when did that tragedy happen? Yes, there's a clue that it was a tragedy. Children, I told you there's at least one. His name was Charles, signer of the Constitution. There's more. Don't poke the bear. There is a tragedy among the children. If you poke the bear, all activity, including the crazy activity we have going on the K2 meter, will stop. I've seen it dozens of times. You can ask how many kids she had, how many boys, how many girls, maybe get some names and leave it alone. Please.
Where would the garage have been? Or any kind of like
the carriage house they would have been in the top right-hand corner.
The reason why I asked, because I heard earlier when that was going off, I heard something about you're going to learn, and then garage, and then something about your mom or something. So I don't know.
So garage definitely wouldn't have been a term from a prominent English woman.
But it would have been something, so a carriage house, that would have been something similar to what we have today, right?
But we're looking for messages straight from Eliza. We got to speak her language. These are not devices. This is a metal or a black box with a metal stick.
Okay.
Like that's the kind of formality that we have to keep. They don't know this technology. So back to the children. Again, keep it very simple.
They got a name online.
No. Part of 80%. Nice try.
Still cool.
Yeah, very cool. Eliza's death. Ask anything you want to. Eliza, how old were you when you died? What did you die from? Where are you buried? And what U.S. president was a pallbearer at your funeral? So again, these are very definitive questions. These are questions that I commonly get the answers to through your spirit boxes. And they don't come from me, they come from you guys listening in. I think that about covers the basis of, the things that you can ask. In this lot, we're not going to go near vehicles. We're not going to film vehicles. Definitely, Matt, go ahead and get your video started if you'd like. Yes, you got that button. You're already recording, so we're good. Watch your lasers.
Yep.
So I think you guys have a good grip on that. Again, this is a spot we are going to spend a good 10 to 15 minutes based on the amount of activity. I will be bouncing around with every person, every group, however you guys are separated throughout, kind of letting you guys know what's going on, or if you get another clue. If this group heard something, are you guys hearing this? So forth and so on. Again, nice slow movements out of the thermal imaging camera. We'll kind of see what happens there, and then definitely turn up your spirit box in here so you guys can listen in. We're not bothering anybody in here. Just keep in mind for the vehicles coming in and out. Do me a favor and cut your lasers for a minute before, just while he parks. Again, we don't want him to feel like we're doing anything fishy in here. Oh, we got a couple of cars down here. This is odd. I thought we were going to have a nice big space to actually work with. A whole train of people coming out. So again, little hotbeds in here, just so you guys know, I cannot do anything for the slaves. I can't prove any of it. So if you're going to stay back here, because we obviously have activity going on with the two devices, you can't prove any of it. So if you guys ask rogue questions, that's fine. Just make sure they're not yes or no questions. Make sure it's something we can prove. Eliza's feelings and things like that, I can't really prove. So kind of go after the facts, names, dates, locations. These are things we can actually go after. Again, as these people park, just kind of stay on my left-hand side of the lot, so that way they don't feel like we're doing anything fishy. Got it? Stay in front. All right. Let's spread out. Let's have some fun.
Okay.
So, what was the highest number that you heard again? 13 in this lot. Yep.
Let's do with the red right now. I will.
she wants us to know. You ask her? Or you know anything? What do you want to know? What do we want to know?
Anything to do with money? You get any words of it? Any words? Yeah.
Any words you got?
Well, like after this, I get crazy. How old are you? Blue?
Yeah.
Those lights from the left on car.
Oh, really? Yeah.
See that? We were asking what their last name was. It starts with letter A.
Walk around.
He's only really talking to us. Is this really for real?
Oh, she's going crazy.
I know.
What?
Shut up. Look at
It's just basically.
All right.
It's just basically.
What do you think? Are you hearing anything on yours?
Exactly.
What do you get?
That red grid.
Oh,
I heard decisions.
Yeah.
decisions.
You got better eyes than you. You got good eyes.
A little bit just mumbling, really.
Again, it's not an easy job. You know, the spirit box one is the hardest one out here, especially yours because you don't have one in your ear. So, but yeah, just keep focused on it. Tell me, I mean, thank you is always a good one, but too vague for me to say, yeah, that's definitely an answer. You know, we want those specific details about the Pinckney's lives. So it's just part of the reason why we're here, is to get those kind of details. So, what do you got?
There you have it. What is it? Turn it down any? What do you want to ask it?
Clean.
What did you... It said please something.
Say clean.
Clean what? Why is the heat coming from over there? Oh, that's real. Never mind. That's your clean over there. Clean what? What did it want us to ask? What did he say to ask it? Huh? Are you here with us? Okay, that's good. All we can hear is radio station.
Napa know-how. That was, wasn't it?
What did it say?
Napa know-how. It's a commercial for Napa.
Do we have it Is the frequency messed up? This is the way it figured out. Catch up.
Green.
Huh?
Biggie.
Dinky?
Don't take on it.
Don't take on the IRS. Thank you. I'll keep that in mind.
Come on now.
Cut their lights out.
This is ours. We're open from 9 to 5.
Let's walk over here.
Anything crazy going on yours? Nothing yet?
No.
How about your lasers? Anything crazy coming through? We'll kind of give your lasers a break if your arms get...
Oh no, I'm doing fine.
So it just restarted. You said at how many minutes?
9 minutes and 26 seconds.
Okay. So she's heard some interesting words.
yeah.
She heard
We asked how she done, and we said 10 numbers. So that's like.
32.
And
I
then
heard
she
32,
heard-
32.
what
Did
questions
anybody
you
have
asked?
any
You
kind of
heard
questions
gypsy.
about that?
And then you heard perfume.
This thing's going off like crazy.
Yeah.
yes.
We haven't found the right
Well,
questions
What
yet.
did you say? Oh, well,
What kind
how
of
did
flowers
you?
are from?
What was your fame and fortune?
Fame and fortune. Word of God.
Word of God.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I guess.
Yes. Which I found really interesting.
Okay. What else did we ask? Nothing.
Sometimes it might not always be a correct answer. It might be whatever words that are relevant to them specifically.
Right.
And there's lots of people asking questions.
Right.
So, that could be an answer.
Oh.
How many sleep?
What was the lady's name?
No.
No, Elijah. Elijah?
Moving on. That's what I want to do. Want to move out of here. Offer?
We need to know what the last thing word that starts with the letter L.
E.
No, L. L. We need something that starts with the letter L.
Watermelon sugar? Dead?
Shut your mouth.
Hello.
No, he didn't.
Go attention thing. He said the layout of the house is nice.
He said it was broad.
It said turn it down low. Did that mean that if I turned it the other way, does that mean the frequency is up too high? Okay then. He's already got frequency set. Yeah. I mean, we want the volume up, but it's my time to have it.
I was curious.
Look. There it goes. Up, a minus, and up.
How many rooms? How many
Push it this way.
rooms
So have it up, loud.
How many rooms were in your home?
Good man.
And how many rooms? And
Figure out what happened here.
yeah.
Which U.S. president was pulled down.
There you go.
Those are two huge things.
Yeah.
First of all, what happened here first off? How'd she die? How many children did you have?
The radio station. Everything.
Because that's why he said it's got to have something warm in there. He was trying to find a warm picture.
What are you guys hearing now?
I heard hello, here, dead, and exactly.
All very vague terms.
Yeah.
But you're hearing things. That's the good thing. So, again, like what I tell people is that you never know where the answers are going to go. It could be, I mean, everybody's asking questions to Eliza right now. So she's going to pick if she wants to answer and which box she's going to answer from. So, Chris, anything crazy coming out of your thermal imaging?
Not yet.
And again, you guys can feel free to change up your devices in your party. You know, so if Kate wants to try it out, so forth and so on, by all means. I just say keep it within, obviously, your party.
Okay.
So, but again, I wanted to give this when I was driving down here. I'm like, I definitely have to give that one to the party, one of the parties of 3, so that way it's kind of an open air. So that way you guys can all listen in.
Okay.
All right, keep going. You're on the right track.
Hold that. Can't put your hand over this side, see? And so don't point too high to the sky.
Where do you run it? What?
Good.
What am I looking for?
Right.
What are you looking for? Is it set up somebody's alarm?
It's not their car. This thing is tracked to the coldest image on the screen.
Really?
And so I'm going to try to line that up. See how that dot right there? It's pointing to the coldest thing on the screen. Keep something.
Yeah, because you kept saying, what's your Let's go over this way, back. Yeah,
I want to solve. I want to get one answer.
yeah. Let's go
We
over
haven't
in
gotten
this
one
corner.
answer yet. Let's try.
Said
Come up with one.
somebody in keep somebody in screen. That way
I like the
it's picking up heat.
I know we're gonna pick on Nicole
But
like that.
it's looking for the opposite of that,
I'm going
the
in.
cold
How did you die
spots,
alive?
because that's what it says ghost or show up as. But if you don't have heat, something hot in it, it's trying to find something. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was too.
Well,
Can't be the black
why
flag.
not?
That was too early. This back through was the 19th proof.
okay, why not put this down?
This down is
But he wants you to stay close to that too, so it pick up the audio.
I can't hear it.
Camera.
Anything else coming up out of yours? Lots of vague terms tonight. All right, I'm going to pull everybody in over to this wall, get you guys some answers, kind of tell you guys everything that's been going on. All right. Anything? Come on, you guys. Let's head over here. Matt, you want to bring everybody over? Alright, so first and foremost, this is what Eliza looked like, so that way everybody kind of has a gist of who this woman was. Very prominent English woman, very gaunt face, but again, this is obviously her later years, and fingers crossed, when I catch more things in your recordings, I'll be able to give you more links. So kind of go over real quick of what was actually heard. So we can go ahead and stop the videos, both of them, so we can stop the thermal and the full spectrum.
We're going back. I did hear the name Jordan.
Jordan. Okay. That would have been the last thing on the list of mine, but I'll definitely take a look. Doesn't ring a bell. I'll just put it out there. Sorry for the long trek, everybody, but again, these are actual haunted locations. So welcome to Lodge Alley. This is one of the original streets of Charlestown. So when we crossed the last crosswalk, that was where the original Charlestown walls used to be. Charleston used to be called Charlestown, the walled city. This is one of the first streets. The reason why I like to bring you guys down here, first off, you see any other tours? I don't. The reason why I like to come down here. I have the full list of residents of every person that's lived down here. So again, the two buildings we're leaned on right now, they weren't here. So did we hear any other names on the spirit boxes at all? Nothing? Okay. Again, I'll be paying special attention. This is what I call a residual ghost. What I normally capture here are the names Benjamin and John. They both lived here in 1801. I get them on a 6 to 7 week interval. It's almost like watching a movie and you catch just the tail end, and all I get is their names. So again, it's about a 6 to 7 week lull. I didn't know what was going to happen tonight with the full moon, so I was kind of hoping for that. What you're walking on, these are granite cobblestones. The whole point that I mentioned about the stone tape theory is the fact that things that are made wholly from the earth, like granite, can hang on to the memories of certain locations. These are original cobblestones you're walking on. So my theory at this point is I'd like to study further to see if what I'm actually capturing is part of the stone tape theory. So I'm going to be paying special attention to a lot of the spirit box activity that goes on in here. If I find enough evidence, I'll start going back to listen to all of the regular audio to see if there's anything going on there. The list of resident names is very interesting. So Benjamin and John, again, I don't find it ironic that I keep hearing the same names over and over again, because it's only 2 out of 5 people that actually lived here during 1801. So again, those are pretty good odds that it's the same 2 names that I'm getting over and over and over again. Before there were residents here, this is where the Freemasons had a Masonic lodge, hence the name, Lodge Alley. I will get terms like brick, clay, masonry, Illuminati has shown up here before. We actually had a little bit of shadow figures, and we actually caught quite a few orbs with your camera, Matt, just here last night. So again, you can always go back and watch the previous investigations that I've done and kind of see what happened there. And their markers are all left for all to see. This is a very interesting space. They did do an archaeological dig underneath of us, and they did find some of these people's clothing, the people that lived here. So their tools, silverware, their clothing, class of these people is lower class. I told you I would talk a little bit more about the way the house was set up at the Pinckneys. I bring it up here because the smell of low tide would have been coming through here quite often. So the richer folks in Charlestown wouldn't have put up with that. These were shotgun houses, meaning they were 1 to 2 rooms only, not bedrooms, rooms. They were very, very small. The Pinckneys, their house was on the broad side of the street. That's kind of bragging rights here in Charleston. If you notice, if you've been down to the Battery, some of those houses are skinny in the front and they go long back, right? If you've noticed that, you were taxed back then based on how much street side your house took back. So there's one reason. The Pinckneys, they went broad. They had lots of money. It was bragging rights. We don't care how much you're going to tax us. We want to show off our beautiful home. That's why it covered as much of the street that it did. The other part of the houses down by the Battery, the why they're set up that way, is because the smell of low tide would normally come low into their front porch, and that's not what they wanted. Notice our piazzas, our front porches have doors on them. It would block that, and it would open a second-story window to let the cool air in and air condition the whole house. So again, there's a reason why those houses are set up that way, multiple reasons, but mainly that tax reason is fun to kind of show you guys, because the Pinckneys were broad and bragging rights. With this spot, it's always like shotgun houses, and it makes sense once you actually take a look down either side of the street. We're literally standing on somebody's stoop right now, and the neighbor was looking right across from you. So again, lots of interesting pieces come up here. I prolong it here for just a few minutes, just so that a couple of things will come through on the spirit boxes. Your battery died already?
Battery died.
Okay, I'll change it along the way to our next stop. What's going to happen from here is we're going to go up to another alley. I can't take you all the way down it like what we're doing here, because it's residential, and I got caught, so I'm the guy that got thrown out. However, I still tell the story because we still get a lot of data from that specific alley, even being across the street from it, and showing you how things went down in that specific alley. From there, we're going to dive into a female pirate at the Powder Magazine, super deep like what we did with the Pinckney Mansion. If you're into pirates, this is a whopper of a story. So again, a lot of detail going into that one. But we're going to take a look at Philadelphia Alley next. I am going to take a look at, Catherine, what do you have on your list now? What are the last 4 terms you have?
Airplane, tape, stop, and nearby.
Okay, absolutely nothing. In the event that her list gives me some other kind of clue, or you guys hear something on a spirit box that tells me a clue of another story, we're going to be in a much busier area. You're going to see bigger tours that are twice the size of this one, and they're all going to stare at you. Just so you guys know, you joined the annoying group tonight. You have the blinky lights and the noisemakers and the laser lights. We're going to show for them. But again, you're going to see people even try to stop you. Some of the other tour guides might say, what has he got you doing now? They love to kind of pry into what I got us going on. But I just like to forewarn you ahead of time because we're going to be hitting that busier area. But what I was getting to was if you guys hear things on your spirit boxes where that word list gives me another, specific clue to a story, I would definitely stop and tell you what that story is and why it's relevant. So again, we spent a little bit of extra time with the paintings as I was fingers crossed hoping for more than what we actually caught. But hopefully we actually get that extra out of the powder magazine with this female pirate. Again, full moon, I have no idea what's going to happen. So I'm gonna, as we walk through here, I'm gonna pop the camera out, swap the battery as we walk. We want to continue to hold the piece. So, all right, let's head up this way. Super quiet. Super quiet.
Anything?
So if you hear anything, I said, not something I want to hear.
Nothing, no how.
I heard my favorite song. You what? Not when you think of a bag.
Call this one ankle breaker alley, right?
Yeah.
Y'all have a good one now.
Oh no.
Oh no, we got two across the threshold.
Watch the road there.
More trouble on the road. Yeah, right. Patrick even had a low spot.
Oh, yeah. Have you heard anything else? No.
Oh yeah.
Everybody?
Yeah.
So the alley behind me, obviously you're at a standstill because of the parking meters. So again, almost ignore those readings. This is called Philadelphia Alley behind me. It's called Philadelphia Alley because we named it after a city that saved us after one of our many, many fires that I told you guys about earlier. We also named it that because dueling became illegal and stupid. So this is where the duels used to occur for Charleston. It was called Duelers Alley before Philadelphia Alley. So just imagine men coming down here, taking 20 paces, turning and shooting at each other.
Really?
This is where it occurred. So let's talk about one specific duel, because this is the one where we can actually prove it and actually get some activity out of it from your devices. There's a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. Keep those initials in mind, RI, where he came from. He moves down here because his fiancée, Amanda, just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents, and her attorney told her to get rid of the doctor. So he moves to Charleston to prove that he's not just after her cash. So when he gets into town, the coachman that brings him in to set him up with his room and board sets him up to be robbed and killed. Not a very good start to his day right here in Charleston. So what happens is somebody walking by, his name is Ralph Isaacs, has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Ralph Isaacs, Rhode Island. RI will show up on your spirit boxes. So he says, "You're about to be robbed and killed, dude. Let me take you somewhere else." He takes him to 59 Church Street, which is right up the road. The number 59 is prominent here as well. I've heard it several times. But anyway, he rents a room from Ralph's friends, and Ralph and this doctor become friends. The doctor's name, by the way, is Joseph Brown Ladd. I don't think I said that at the beginning. So the doctor starts to make more money. He's proving his point to Amanda and her attorney that he's not just after Amanda's money, he's got his own. His practice takes off. Amanda's moving down soon now, and he becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. Every haunted city has a whistler. I know it's cheesy and corny, but ours is a doctor, and yes, this is a true story. So Ralph and the doctor go see plays together. In the meantime, while he's waiting for Amanda to move, but they can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money, which means he gets better seats. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. On the way home one night, after going to see William III, they're arguing over the doctor's loves. It gets a little heated, and then Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home. It gets even uglier. They go their separate ways. So what happens from there is Ralph is from here. He goes to his friends at the newspaper and puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. So you can imagine what a few of those words may have said. The doctor sees this ad and he rebuttals with, "Let's go to Jeweler's Alley, we're going to settle this." So they come down, they take their 20 paces, they turn, the doctor pointed his gun in the air and shot, which is what often happened during duels during this time. He just needed the bravery to show up for the fight. Ralph had his one bullet in his musket, and he puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. The doctor didn't die right away. He's carried home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later. Now, they say as you walk through this alley, you can hear the whistles from the doctor. I used to take people all the way through here, and we would use my audio to detect for any kind of whistle. I will tell you, first off, as visitors to Charleston, this is the most beautiful place we have for pictures, day or night. If you happen to walk through here, make sure you turn on your voice recorders. Listen for those whistles daily. I've even had the word whistle and sports whistle show up on spirit boxes while I'm telling the story. So again, it happens often. This is not something I take lightly with the doctor. We'll even get more details even as we continue on. But I like to stop so you guys can envision what actually happened down here. The other interesting thing about this alley, if you walk down there on your own, as you walk from Cumberland, you're going to see a gate on your right-hand side. That gate is for when there was a loser, it was the shortcut to the cemetery to go drop the dead body, and then they can go celebrate the winner.
Oh,
so
wow.
Very, and it didn't come all the way to Cumberland Street. It stopped right at that gate. So instead of going down to Queen Street and all the way around to go to the cemetery, they made a shortcut for themselves. Also keep in mind when you're walking down here on your own and you're listening on your voice recorders, everybody that walks down Cumberland and Queen Street on the other end will throw a whistle down the alley, including me. I do it every single night. Keep in mind, we're going to end right there, and my garage is right there. So every night on my way home, back to my garage, I throw a whistle down the alley, just for shits and giggles. Just because I can. But again, this is one of those spots where, again, you guys have all the noisemakers. At the end of this, there is a beautiful mansion, and I did have folks outside investigating, outside of his home, even though I was trying to rush them along. He still came out pretty angry, and I don't go down there any longer. As you can see, it's even empty right now. Even the other tours, like, they only go so far. But I like to give you guys that full experience. And I'm like, we're going to deep dive into something. Again, telling you stories isn't always just something I like to do, but this one I still get a lot of evidence from, so we'll see what comes up. You guys haven't shouted anything out at me that you've heard or seen, so again, I'll have to listen and pay special attention for when we're
if you get anything up, when you point it down there.
We had a little bit of a cold spot down there the other night. It was interesting because it just kind of showed up and then just went away. It was real quick, and the camera was super still, so I make sure of that. I debunk everything before I pass off anything as evidence. But again, what we're going to do from here, Catherine, where are we at with your list?
War.
Well, we're going to go talk about a powder magazine.
Oh.
So that would make sense.
Wow.
All right, let's go talk about this powder magazine.
Yeah.
I don't have anything.
They're right there.
We're losing the crew. Sorry. Well, look, we spent like our whole day down here. And then
Yes, we did.
It turns out we're now going through the. I think it's where we parked. Really. This is the garage.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we're down at the church. Oh, there's
So, full moon is not giving me all the things that I was hoping for.
Yeah.
When you're doing an investigation, and I will tell you, when I normally leave in your text message in the morning, is that most people often overlook the research into things. Without knowing the history behind an investigated location, your evidence means nothing. So if you heard something or whatever, great, but what does it mean? Right. So again, that's why I go through this data for a few hours in the morning, and hopefully you guys will all do that as well. But again, most people would often overlook that portion of the investigation. So a couple of things here. I do like to point out this is St. Phillips Church. If you're ever lost downtown, just look for that steeple. It is the tallest one we have. It also was affected by our great earthquake of 1886. It leans slightly left.
Oh, it does?
You can't see it with the naked eye, but it does. So, a couple of things. We're going to be talking about this powder magazine over here. This is the building to my right with the crosses on it. Let me first tell you that those are not crosses, those are earthquake bolts. If you're unfamiliar with this term, what that means is that those are basically turnbuckles. If we have another earthquake like we did in 1886, you can turn the turnbuckle slowly, a little bit at a time, and it'll straighten the building back up again. It's a great theory, it just doesn't work. It's part of the Charleston charm now. You guys have probably seen it all over town with lion heads and pineapples and all kinds of mess. It's just part of our charm. It's just what we do. Yep. So again, the reason why I point these ones out specifically is because these are the very first earthquake bolts that we put in Charleston.
Oh, really?
Why? Because this is the oldest government building we have in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. The reason why we're here, I kind of explained different types of ghosts to you guys. We are here because this is a familiar building. I'm going to give you a little bit more on this building because it's very interesting, but we're here because the ghost we're going to be hoping to speak with, this building is familiar to the time frame. There's not many of these buildings left in Charleston. This is one of them. So, you notice the red shingles that are over there. Well, I guess let me take a step backwards. Behind me is Cumberland Street, where we were just walking up. This is where the original Charlestown Wall used to be, where I told you guys back in Lodge Alley. This building is locked into the corner of the Charlestown walls on purpose. It went up just past the powder magazine and started going south towards the battery. So if it does get attacked from cannon from 3 blocks away, those walls are 32 inches thick. It's going to have a hard time making it through there. But let's say that it does and it blows up the gunpowder. There's sand in the roof from 1712, the year before it was finished. It's supposed to go up in the air because it's not going to go out through the thick walls, and it's going to fall to put out the fire of the gunpowder. Very interesting theory, but that doesn't work either. We had another powder magazine closer to the battery. It's much closer to the water. It did get attacked. Sand went up. Building burned down. That's how that scenario went. This one has just never been attacked. It did serve in 7 different wars, including the Civil War as its last servant for you history buffs. It is a museum now. If you want to see their artillery and the uniforms from those 7 different wars, by all means, take the $5 tour. I'm not a caveat for them, but again, very cool place. So, I told you, we're here because this place is familiar. This building took 10 years to build. 1703 to 1713. That doesn't sound like our government, does it? Small building, 10 years?
No.
1708 is where the story begins. You gotta follow me, there's a lot of twists. Young lady moves here, Nicole's like, really? Just get on with the story. Young lady named Anne Cormack moves here from Ireland. It's 1708. She's about 8 or 9 years old. So there's gonna be a lot of or type situations in this story. There's a lot of holes. She moves here with her dad and his mistress. The mistress is her mother. Are you guys with me so far?
Yep.
Okay. The 3 of them are getting away from his wife and great wife. I'll point that out. Moved all the way here from Ireland in a boat. They land in Georgetown. They buy a plantation on the water. It's probably a rice plantation. The mom dies pretty quickly after getting here. He starts sending the daughter down here to sell anything they have from the plantation and any other wares they have to keep things afloat. We're going to fast forward. 1713, the building's done. 1715, Anne is about 16, 17 years old. Pirates are coming through town and she's pretty stoked. Give you her mentality. Back home in Ireland, they say she actually killed a servant girl with a knife to the belly. So, I'm telling you this when she was a child. So now at 1715, when pirates are here, oh yeah, they're here. She falls in love pretty quickly. The guy's name is James Bonney. Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. They fall in love, they run away to Jamaica, they get married. Anne Cormack becomes Anne Bonny, your most famous female pirate of the golden age of piracy. Her career started right here. Now, when she gets there, this is not Captain Jack Sparrow that she wanted, this badass pirate. This guy's a privateer. He's basically a spy for the British. He's a coward in her eyes. She falls in love again a few years later. This guy's name is John Rackham. We're on guy number 2. I'll keep tally. There's a couple more. John Rackham, aka Calico Jack. Calico Jack is a much cooler name. He's called that because he wears the jackets of the men he kills. He's a very dapper young filthy pirate, but that's who he is. He has his own ship. She wants to be part of it. She wants to be a pirate. She wants part of that life, that freedom that females don't normally get during this time. Females curse pirate ships. You can't put a girl on the crew. He makes a deal with her. If you dress like the crew and hide your gender, then you can be part of the crew. You can be a female in my quarters. Let's put 2 and 2 together. She takes the deal. Being a female in the quarters, she eventually gets pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate guy on the crew. Somebody's gonna find out.
Yeah.
He drops her off with friends in Cuba. Go have the baby. These are friends of mine. Come back. We'll figure it out later. She has the baby, returns with no baby. We don't know what happened. She's also dressed like a girl. She doesn't give a damn anymore about hiding her gender. So, this makes Jack mad. He just captured another pirate crew. They're down below deck. Anne's gonna go flirting to make him even more mad. That's her mentality, right? So the guy she's flirting with turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew the Calico Jack just captured. So now we have 2 females doing the exact same thing on the same ship. Again, unheard of for this kind of time. Her name's Mary Read. She convinces Mary to become part of the crew. The British find out where they are. They send their entire fleet to come capture 1 pirate ship. Mary and Anne are the only 2 not drunk enough to come up and fight with their 1-bullet muskets. Obviously, attacking other ships, this one's going to get taken. As they're being arrested, Anne's last words were to Jack, you should have fought like a man instead of going down like a dog. So, yeah, pretty dirty stuff.
Yeah.
The judge, he has the same name as me, so when you hear my name, it's not me, it's the judge. He wants to see the 2 men by themselves after he already tries and hangs Calico Jack and his men. So they're dead and gone. The 2 ladies go in front, they reveal their gender. He doesn't care. They're still pirates. He's still going to hang them. We plead our bellies was the last thing they said, because you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. They're trying one last attempt to save themselves. So he says fine. He delays the hanging, sends them both back to jail. Dad is still here in Charlestown with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne, brings her back home. She remarries again, guy number 4, has 4 children, and dies at the age of 84. I know, very abrupt ending, and you're like, oh yeah, finally over. I know history can be long. But as far as Mary Read goes, she died a year later in 1721 from whatever pirates died from in a Jamaican jail. So again, it was probably scurvious and bumpy and gross, and use your imagination. Unfortunately, I have to every night when I tell this story. Now, the interesting thing about this particular location, when I told you guys at the beginning that people have passed out on this tour before, just a few weeks ago, before I told the story, I brought my group over to that wall. Again, I always start it in a different spot just to keep things alive for me. And before I tell the story, a young man on my tour goes white as a ghost. I mean, no color whatsoever. I don't think I've ever seen anybody go that white. Me and his partner pick him up by the shoulders, carry him over to that wall over there. I send the boyfriend over to the cross the street to get him a bottle of water, bring him back. He's starting to feel better. I tell the story. Notice I didn't tell the story yet. Afterwards, I send everybody out with their devices. They stop me and say, Nick, we need to tell you something. I'm like, go for it. What do you got? Like, we are 2 transgender males. 2 females dressed like males. They were perfectly clarified on the story on why one of them started to pass out before I even brought up the story. So take that for what it is. Craziness, it has happened. Psychics normally don't make it throughout my tour. The Pinckney Mansion site usually stops them dead in their tracks. But this one, they got all the way here. And it was almost like they waited for them. Crazy things will happen here. Again, cameras will go amok. Things will go, I mean, as far as spirit boxes, we'll hear ladies laughing about they think we're guys and that kind of stuff. Like, I've heard the gambit in this location. Your EMFs are not going to be the Pinckney Mansion site. If you get anything, I will be excited because that means something else is going off that we either are creating in real time or what I'm going to catch in the morning. Again, it's definitely not the Pinckney Mansion site. Just keep that in mind. You can definitely use your REM pod here. Folks with cameras, if you want to go to the front of the building and put your cameras in the wrought iron gate and not drop my equipment, that would be great. Also, do not interrupt other tours. If somebody's there, wait your turn. Again, they already don't like me. Is your battery dead at the top? I would say that's definitive. Yes, I can get you a new battery. Here we go. Again, another dead battery. And I just changed that one out 2 nights ago. That usually lasts me 4 nights.
Wow.
So, the one he already killed is kind of like, normally I wait till it's here, that I normally have to change it, but we did do a lot of recording along the way. So I'm not going to, put that as paranormal yet, but that top one, possibly.
Yeah.
All right, definitely turn your spirit boxes up. Let's have some. Oh, the 2 questions that you can't ask that I can actually prove here: the name of Calico Jack's ship and the name of Anne Bonny's parents. Those are 2 things that I know for certain. Everything else is kind of a level 3. Ask what you want, get some answers. Again, look for things I can prove. Do I know the name of her kids? I do not. However, if you get direct answers, by all means, let me know what you hear. This is again a level 3. Have fun with it. It's up to you what you can ask. But those are the 2 questions that I can prove for certain. You hang out so I can get you a new battery. Everybody else, let's spread out, stay within the confines of the wall.
What was the 2 girls' names again?
Anne and Mary.
Okay.
Did they hold on?
He said anytime.
Yeah, anything out. Anytime.
What did they say? The ship name was.
What did you do? What did you do? How about it? I got 5 of them.
What? What is it? What did it say? Hello.
Alright, guys. Anything going on? What have you heard so far? Anything?
Reaching out, understand, I've got you. And,
Reaching out.
I like reaching out.
sponsor.
Well, again, that even out of the 4 spirit boxes that I use, that's the hardest one because it's open. So again, it's the fact that you guys are hearing anything out of it is a natural wonder. Not to mention when we're watching the thermal, hopefully we'll be able to capture some things you may have missed. But again, you had a lot of like 1-syllable answers from the Pink Mansion site. So again, definitely keep listening in. We'll see what goes on. I haven't heard anything else out of anybody else yet because we just got started. But, just so you know, this will be our last stop. So once we round everybody up, it'll be up near that wall, and I'll kind of go over like what the next steps are. Thoughts, questions, comments, anything so far? Is this what you guys thought you signed up for, by the way? What were you thinking?
I thought it was just a tour.
Just a normal.
We didn't tell him.
They didn't tell me anything.
So with something like this, when it's as quiet as you guys have all been tonight, I never know. I try to get a feel for the room, but I get all the eyes like deer in the headlights staring at me. And every once in a while I'll get a yawn. And it's kind of like, okay, I got to speed this one up, kind of see what's going on. I normally give dads the massive technology like this one, so that usually works out and keeps them, busy throughout. No offense, but it's usually dads and husbands that are dragged to this. It's normally the wives that are like, we're going ghost hunting, kind of thing. So, but yeah, that camera in here likes to act up. So if you see a white film of any kind kind of just pop up, and I've had it like where it starts flickering really fast, that's an error, obviously. So we want to stop the video and restart it back up again. If you can't get it to restart back up again, obviously I'll be checking in on you to show you how to reset the whole phone, because sometimes that's needed too in here. This is a weird spot. It's either hit or miss, like a super hit or super miss. Okay. So let me see what's going on with the other one. Last chance.
We're going to go over there and get in front of that gate. Come on. Can we stand over here? The front of it, really?
I don't know. No, you should stay in the parking lot, but.
In the front of it. This. Come. You picking up anything?
Number 1.
I wasn't expecting this at all. I got far in that building, right? Yeah. Oh, you want me to go get you something water? You want some water? There's a water machine right there. You went to bed. You got this. Put your hand on it. Nice, great hair.
You want it?
Hold it.
Music playing.
Inner Qualities and Bible 379 and Understood Again.
I like numbers. Numbers make sense to me. Inner qualities. And I always get religious terms near the church.
Yeah.
That's not uncommon at all.
What the? What's this?
35.
What do you say? What do you say?
Well, who answers with now? We're randomly. Like right away.
Right over here. This is the area we heard the number.
Yeah.
Also. Yeah. What number?
That was 3 and 7. No, that was
19.
19. They heard 19.
And we don't know why.
Oh, I think you were after her age,
Oh.
right? But he
Yeah.
said that Mary would have been older than Anne, who was about maybe 16. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a lot for me to dive into.
Yeah. We go under the trees.